This is a A2 level biology video all about ATP, an amazing little molecule. It's produced by the mitochondria in aerobic respiration, and at AS level you would have known it to be the energy carrying molecule, but that's not actually quite true. It's more like an energy transfer molecule. And ATP stands for adenosine triphosphate, so adenosine and 3 phosphate groups, and it actually transfers energy onto other molecules and other processes. This happens by adenosine losing one of the phosphates out of the 3, and that will form ADP. So I'm going to talk through how that happens. So you start with ATP, the whole molecule. You hydrolyze it using water, so H2O. And you know how hydrolysis works at enzymes. It splits up molecules. And the enzyme used to do this is ATPase. That's the enzyme used to break down ATP. This is a hydrolysis reaction, and it's also oxidation. And that actually is what releases energy. The losing of the phosphate group releases energy, and this is called exergonic. Then you are left with ADP and PI, which is an equation you'll use a lot when you're doing respiration and photosynthesis and all that kind of stuff. And so you're left with ADP and PI. Now, to form these back together, to reform ATP, you need to use the enzyme ATP synthase, meaning synthesis, meaning making of ATP. And that's also used in photosynthesis and respiration as well. And this actually puts in energy, so that's endergonic. That puts energy in to reform ATP. It's also called phosphorylation, so the adding of a phosphate to ADP is phosphorylation. And it's also a condensation reaction because obviously water is released. So just move over here. So that was the whole cycle of ATP. And in an exam, it will probably ask you a question about ATP, such as, why is ATP a suitable source of energy? And this would normally be like a 3 or 4 mark question, probably at the back of the paper. And you just have to just list them really, list them like I've done here, and you'll probably get full marks for it. So you could say it's suitable because it's only broken down in one step, because only one bond is broken to actually release the energy. Which is very easy and fast and straightforward for the body to do. Also, the cycle that you just saw is constantly happening. So as soon as ATP is broken down, it's remade, so it's constantly being reformed. That also means that it's an immediate source of energy. So the body always has lots of it available to use. And also, very important, it releases energy in small, manageable amounts. So the body can make use of that energy and none of it goes to waste. And it's easy to manage. Also, when it loses the phosphate group, this phosphate can go on to phosphorylate other molecules, not just other ATP molecules. It can go to phosphorylate other molecules, which is also really useful. So that's why ATP is a suitable source of energy. Another question, so the last kind of question you'll probably get about ATP, it will be something like, very similar, you have to say stuff, very, very similar stuff. So, why does a human need to produce double their body weight in ATP each day? And this is because ATP will only release a very small amount of energy, which you already knew from the previous question. So it only releases a very small amount of energy, so you do need a lot of ATP to produce enough energy. Also, ATP cannot be stored. That's very important. Your teachers will probably go on and on about that. ATP cannot be stored, so you have to keep making it if you want that energy. And the energy that it transfers is used for active transport. You could say that as like an example of what ATP is used for. So that is why a human would need to produce such a lot of ATP, because active transport is happening so much in the body every day.